When you think about there being a you inside of you that you haven't met yet, take a moment and think about what that is. What does that mean for you? What does that look like for you? What does it look like for you to step into a person that you haven't even met yet? See, a lot of us are holding on to the labels that someone else has given us, or a label that we've taken on because we've taken on a false belief system. So when we're told certain things, or when we hear certain things, certain opinions, or we might even be comparing ourselves unconsciously, right? Because the things that we end up taking in, it has to go through an interview process before it gets to your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is really what you believe, what you take on as your identity, the things that you think to be true. But before it can even go there, it goes through your conscious mind, it goes through an interview process. So whatever it is that you take on, that you latch on to, that you allow to be true to you, to be a part of you, I pray that going into this next season that you really take time to look in the mirror and go all the way back as far as you can to the first time you felt God talk to you, the first time you felt God instruct you, or speak anything over your life. If there's been any prophetic word ever spoken over your life, I want you to go back to that time, and I want you to remember what started happening to you after you received that word, after you received whatever direction or vision that God gave you. And I want you to speak life into your own situation. I want you to be able to speak life, and I want you to be able to remove any type of agreements that you have come into over the years of things that are, again, false doctrine, false identity, anything that goes against the knowledge of God. Cast down any imagination that goes against or exalts itself and goes against the knowledge of God. Those are the things that we have allowed to latch onto us over the years unconsciously, that we're now moving and operating in such a way that God did not intend for us to be. So that person that's inside of us that we haven't met yet, that person's waiting to come out, but that person has been pushed down, that person has been suppressed under all of the things that we have allowed to attach to us, that we have come into agreement with. So again, I want you to go back as far as you can, remember all of these things starting happening to you. If you can identify any type of cycles in your life, any type of patterns in your life that you find yourself going through year over year, or it may even show itself in a different form, but it's the same thing. It's the same battle, it's the same issue year over year, just in a different way. I want you to speak life into those things. I want you to say out loud that you break any agreement that you have come into that goes against the knowledge of God, that has exalted itself against the knowledge of God, because God has made you to be great. God has made you in the image of himself. So anything that you do, anything that you touch is blessed. Anything that you do is golden. You are God's child, and he has given you authority. So if that be true and you believe that to be true, that's the first thing, is check your belief, check your mental, check your mindset. Because again, something in the past, something that attached to you has taken away your belief, has taken away your ability to believe in yourself, your ability to speak with the authority that God has given you, because your belief is tainted. Your belief is not necessarily there. You don't truly believe the power and the authority that you have. You don't truly believe whatever it is that God has called you to do, because you're comparing yourself to the person to the right and to the left of you, because you're thinking that God made a mistake when he called you. You're thinking that God made a mistake when he spoke your name. And yet you find yourself in the same position year over year because you're resisting the calling. You don't believe. Or because you're believing in something that's not true. You're believing in a false identity. But who told you that? Who told you that is the question. And why are you believing anything that is exalting itself over the knowledge of God. There's a you inside of you that you have not met yet. And until you get to a place in your life where you are willing to try something new, where you are willing to truly walk out on faith and not by sight, because right now, everything that you have done that has gotten you here, it's a part of your comfort zone. It's a part of that identity that you have taken on. But in order to get to the next place, it's going to take some stretching. It's going to take you being a little uncomfortable. It's going to take you being in a dark place. It's going to take you being isolated. It's going to take you losing some relationships, perhaps a job. It's going to take you being in a place that makes you so uncomfortable that you're going to probably wish that you stay right here where you're at. But before you decide to ever go back, I want you to remember how you feel right now as you're watching this, and how many times you've been in this place where you've told yourself, not again, where you told yourself, this is the last time. But then it's the end of 2024, you find yourself going into 2025, and yet your life is still not where you thought it would be. There's a you inside of you that you haven't met yet, that you've been suppressing. It's time for you to walk out on faith, because God has called your name a long time ago. And there's so many people who's waiting to hear from you, whose life you are going to change, and you solely. Because it has to come from you. Your story, it matters. And your voice, it matters. And whoever God has out there waiting to hear a word from you, believe that they also have something for you as well that's going to bless you and change your life as well. So there's a you inside of you that you have not met yet. How long is it going to take for you to shed all of the old things and start believing what God told you in the first place? It's okay to be alone, because God knows what you need and when you need it. He's never going to forget about you. He's never going to just leave you. But you do have to trust the process. You do have to trust when he has you in those dark places. You do have to trust when he begins to remove people from your life. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. For the enemy you see today, you will see no more. It's a beautiful thing when you can stand on his word and you believe in his promises, because the mountains will move. You will no longer remain in the valleys. Right now, I know it's hard, and sometimes you don't even know what tomorrow is going to look like, but you have to make a decision right here in your heart. That's what God is looking for. It's all about your heart posture. So once you give all of your burdens to him, you lay it all at his feet, you watch what he does. You watch how he just shows up in your life, and he does the heavy lifting for you. Because there's a calling placed on your life that needs to be accomplished, because it's going to exalt the kingdom of God. So if you're called according to his purpose, which you are, all things will work out for your good. If you love God, you believe in God, you trust in God, everything that you've gone through, it's not in vain. And he will not let it be in vain. He will use it for your good. So let him work. Because if man's hand is in it, then God can't take the credit. So he's going to show up when it looks impossible, when it looks like time is up, when it looks like your time is up. That's when God is going to show up for you. My mother used to tell me, God's going to show up at 11:59 with 59 seconds left on the clock, and he's still on time. So you keep going, because God, he got you.